Ukrainian forces continue their strategic defense against Russia. Russian forces have stepped up raids and military operations on Ukrainian territory. Russian forces continue their offensive in Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Mariupol, Severodonetsk, Lysychansk regions. Today, we will look at all these operations with real footage from the front lines. May 23, 2025. A Chinese soldier spotted in an open field in the Donetsk region. Attacked by a Ukrainian FPV drone, the soldier is struggling hard to escape. He looks more like a Chinese or North Korean individual than a Buryat. Chinese soldiers captured by Ukrainian soldiers have been documented before. He struggles against a Ukrainian attack drone and tries to shoot it down with his gun, but fails. He is soon killed by an explosion. May 24, 2025. The 110th Motorized Rifle Brigade detects a Russian military assembly and ammunition depot. Ukrainian forces immediately launch a drone strike. Seconds later, the warehouse is completely blown up with a huge explosion. May 14, 2025. A Russian ZSTS armored vehicle, probably out of fuel and stranded. He was stranded in a very unlucky area. There is probably more than one soldier inside. But the Ukrainian drones are already on the move. The Russian vehicle, which suffered serious damage in the first attack, has not yet been completely destroyed. The outer perimeter of the armored vehicle is coated against a possible unmanned aerial attack. This is a strategy used by Russian soldiers that has been seen in many Russian vehicles lately, but it no longer has the armor to withstand successive Ukrainian attacks. The last time it explodes completely with the impact. The soldiers inside don't even have a chance to get out. Russian troops attack with armored vehicles, but are spotted by Ukrainian FPV drones. This position is constantly monitored by Ukrainian troops. Immediately, the drones take off and start destroying vehicles one by one. All vehicles are destroyed as Russian soldiers flee in panic to save their lives. The 34th Infantry Brigade and the 53rd Motorized Brigade of Ukraine, together with the Special Task Force, Signum, detected the basement of a ruined house with Russian soldiers near Novodetsk in the Luhansk region. Ukrainian infantrymen who went to the area with explosives planted an explosive device in the basement and completely destroyed the building together with Russian soldiers. Many Russian soldiers lost their lives. A Russian T-90 tank firing at a building housing Ukrainian soldiers makes a big mistake by forgetting to open the entrance hatch. A grenade is dropped from a drone and the tank starts to burn, along with the ammunition inside. It explodes shortly afterwards. While Russian soldiers whose vehicles have exploded continue to wait in the wooded area, Ukraine is dropping bombs on the Russian infantry. They still manage to survive this attack. However, they will not be able to hold out much longer without any support. In the meantime, you can support us by liking and commenting on our content. We need this to continue producing these videos. May 21st, 2025. Near the village of Novo in the Donetsk region, the Russian army attempted to breach Ukrainian defense lines using 2 armored personnel carriers. However, thanks to high-resolution surveillance by Ukrainian reconnaissance drones, the assault was detected in advance. Russian soldiers hid under a collapsed bridge after being attacked. But soldiers of the 10th Mountain Assault Brigade attacked the bridge and tried to repel the Russian soldiers. Russian soldiers are constantly looking out from the bridge, trying to find a favorable position, but they are being fired upon incessantly. They are trapped there and surrounded by Ukrainian troops. Russian soldiers repeatedly attempt to get out, but each time they are met with a fierce attack. They started to suffer huge losses. Now a Ukrainian tank is coming to deliver the last heavy blow. Russian soldiers are now completely helpless against the tank. Their chances of getting out of here are very difficult. All the remaining Russian soldiers died under the bridge. Thus, the Russian forces were repulsed from the region. The Ukrainian 53rd Motorized Brigade launched an operation against Russian trenches in the Novodetsk-Luhansk region, just one of the positions of Russian forces that are constantly being located thanks to drone technology. Ukrainian troops, cautiously advancing in the trenches with air support, make first contact with Russian troops. There is a small skirmish, but the Russian soldiers show that they want to surrender. At this point, the Ukrainian troops seem to be struggling to decide what to do first. But after a careful approach, they decide to surrender the Russian soldiers. A Russian armored vehicle is trying to break through the Ukrainian defense line. It is moving at full speed on the road, but what it does not know is that there is an FPV kamikaze drone after it. Ukrainian forces have already launched an attack to stop the Russian vehicle. The first attack on the target causes a very serious explosion. However, the Russian battleship managed to escape this attack. However, it lost all mobility and can no longer move. Ukrainian artillery tries to hit the target, but several unsuccessful hits are made. After several artillery fires, a second drone takes off and attacks the vehicle. The second drone attack hits the vehicle right in the engines. The vehicle, which initially bursts into flames, is destroyed by a large explosion because it was carrying a large amount of ammunition. The Ukrainian defense uses drone technology very well, successfully pushing Ukrainian soldiers out of their defense areas. The intelligence for all these attacks is provided by unmanned aerial vehicles. Drone attacks, which have changed the entire course of the war, continue to cause great losses to the Russian army. May 22nd, 2025. The 12th Special Operations Brigade Azov launched a trench operation after receiving intelligence about the areas where Russian positions are located in the Toretsk region. In the first phase of the operation, they are trying to repel Russian soldiers by bombing the trenches. Ukrainian soldiers continue to press hard, using their superior numbers to their advantage. But this operation is not search and destroy. If Russian soldiers are willing to surrender, they will be taken prisoner. The Russian soldiers continued to return fire, but they were out of ammunition. A surviving Russian soldier came out to surrender. Ukrainian soldiers cautiously pulled the Russian soldier towards them and took him prisoner. Unaware of the impending attack, 2 Russian soldiers advance along a straight road. The 3rd Separate Assault Brigade begins a mortar attack after following the soldiers for some time. The first mortar shell lands very close, and the Russian infantry is unaffected, but now fear and panic set in. They immediately started running backwards. Another artillery attack is coming. Russian soldiers enter their bunkers, having survived these attacks. Now they are stuck. Ukrainian soldiers immediately launch a drone and drop a grenade into the bunker. The explosion also killed 2 Russian soldiers. There is no movement. Ukraine is carrying out counterattacks against Russian soldiers in all areas it can defend. Russian units inside buildings are constantly being followed and attacked. Russian soldiers are seizing abandoned battlefields and turning them into new military positions, and they are constantly being attacked by Ukraine. All this shows that the war will continue to drag on.